Hi everyone, Team Member Mark Sheeran here. Listen, everybody's been asking why we switched to the Skinner Peep sights this year. And there's a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, the owner of Skinner Sights, Andy Larson, was willing to collaborate with us to build the best ghost site for tracking on the market. And he took our input and really put it into practice. And the aperture, the ghost ring itself is thinner, so it allows more light in. It's all steel construction. It's got a lifetime warranty, and it's also a very elegant sight. So there are some other features as well. The ghost sight itself is dovetailed into the body of the sight, which makes it really, really sturdy, and it can't fall out of adjustment. And between that and the fact that it's all steel, and the Peep sight is optimized for the tracker and the still hunter, it's an amazing sight. So you can go on to bigwoodsbucks.com and get your BWB Tracker Series Peep sight today. All right, good luck on the hunt.
This is the Big Woods Bucks podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks podcast. I'm your host, Hal Blood, sitting over here in beautiful Rangeley, Maine at Bad Lee Libby's place. We're looking down on the lake, and Joe carpooled it over with me this morning. So we're ready to get going, and just so everybody knows, this is our 100th podcast. We talked about, I think, last time, and we're going to have some kind of a little contest we'll talk about later on, but first we want to get right to it. We've got Dave Trahan, Executive Director of Sportsman's Alliance of Maine, and he was on a couple months ago about talking about the deer wintering area project he's got going, and we're having him on again because there's some more developments, and we're going to kind of get an update on that and a little bit on Sunday hunting, I think. So welcome, sure. Dave.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it. I want to share a little story with you. The last time I was on your podcast, I came into work the next day, and my accountant said, "Oh, my God, have you seen what's going on online?" And I said, "No, I haven't. What are you talking about?" And she said, "We've got like 40 members overnight from..." And I said, "Well, that's Hal Blood's podcast." So it was a huge response to the podcast, and your folks stepped right up. And some of those were life members, and yeah, they've been still trickling ever. I bet we've got 50 to 60 members because of that podcast. So thank you to all those folks that joined.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's good. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. So if you want, I'll jump right into it because I know we're limited on time. First, thanks for having me on your 100th podcast. That's an honor.
Yeah.
I do want to update your listeners on what has happened. Now, first, I'll talk a little bit about what happened last year, and then what happened this year that has more than doubled our efforts. So 2 years ago, we submitted legislation and worked it through the process to establish a new program for the state, Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, to buy deer yards. Now, SAM has not abandoned, but we see the lack of success with these voluntary agreements to protect deer yards. It's just not working. So we've now been promoting actually buying them and then having Inland Fisheries and Wildlife manage them. We were successful in passing legislation and getting a $40 million appropriation to do that. The Land for Maine's future program, what we did was we prioritized the purchase of deer yards in northern, eastern, and western Maine. We got a $40 million appropriation for 4 years, matched by federal money. That's about 3-to-1 match, so you can do the math. It's about 100 to 120 million, of which a portion can buy deer yards. We don't really know what that portion is, but that was what happened. We went out through that program and bought a 1,000-acre property up near Woodland. That was the first deer yard. There's about 6 more being discussed right now, and that'll come out in June. So we don't know how many of those, but we know that there's some promising discussions going on, and it's in various stages of that process. And they're all over northern, eastern, and western Maine. So anticipating that that's a difficult process, what I just described, and it's very unpredictable. It's hard to look forward and say, we have a goal of X amount of yards when you have to go back to the legislature and beg for money every year. So as a sort of a parallel path, our consulting biologist, Jerry Levine, has been working with IF&W and the committee, myself, to restructure the antlerless deer permit system to, first of all, make it more effective, because we felt it was becoming ineffective, but also to broaden opportunity, simplify, and then possibly get some money to purchase and manage deer yards. And why I say get some money, when you buy a September archery permit, you pay, I believe it's $12 for the permit, so you can get more than one deer during the September archery season. The proposal that came from both the department and from Jerry is to streamline that system. How it'll work is when you apply for a permit now, it's free. It would still remain free. But what would happen is if you put in for a permit and got chosen, you had the option to purchase that for $12. Now, at first, you might go, "Oh, Jesus, I get that for free now, and I don't want to pay for it." But what we made for amendments to it was so that you could actually take 2 deer. So the way the new system will work is it still is the same for shooting a buck, but if you get your doe permit, you can shoot 2 deer. You can shoot your buck, or you can shoot your doe, or both. So that extra $12 gets you that second deer. In addition, any leftover permits would be sold over the counter. So you can go in and buy one right over the counter after you fill your tags. Sort of like some other states do it.
You mean?
But what is key for your
that'd be basically online. You can just go online and get one, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you've got all kinds of opportunities still, but this is where we insisted that all the money generated, except for a nominal administration fee of usually it's between 3 and 5%. All the money generated from the sale of those permits goes into the deer management account, the same account that we designed to buy and manage deer yards. Well, the amount of money generated by that system is about $750,000. That $750,000 is matched 3-to-1 by federal Pittman-Robertson Act money. So for those that are doing the math in their head, that's $3 million a year more on top of what we did last year that will be ongoing indefinitely to be set into this fund to buy and manage deer yards. Together, those 2 programs now, I believe there's more than enough resources to not only buy the deer yards, but to manage them after we own them. Now, I know some people don't like to pay fees, and I get that, but imagine if in the 1930s, when the Pittman-Robertson Act was passed and our wildlife populations were in chaos, they were crashing, those folks, they instituted hunting and fishing licenses to invest in the resource. And many of us benefit from their work almost 100 years ago. The reason we have wood ducks now in a plentiful population, the reason we have deer and other wildlife is because of their work. So what I'm telling you listeners is that sacrifice that you're giving now is what's going to bring deer hunting back 10, 15, and 20 years from now, so that kids that are unborn can have an opportunity to hunt deer.
David, I think people don't care too much about the fees as long as it's going towards something that's effective and something they care about. I find that with snowmobiling, with the registrations, because it goes directly back into the trail fund, they don't mind. It's when money gets wasted with those fees and it goes to things it shouldn't. So I think that, especially as small a fees as what we're talking, I think it's going to be received pretty nicely from people.
Yeah. I agree with that. I've been doing some live Facebook events explaining where the money's going and how it's going to be spent. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about that in a minute. I polled my members and I asked them several questions related to this restructuring. And in each case in which I said that the money would be dedicated to buy and manage deer yards, the support was 3-1. If you take away that and you just throw the money into the general fund, there is no support. So you're exactly right. And I found that to be true in my but in my social media live events. People, like you said, when they're looking at their kids, they want them to have it better than when they were here. And this is an opportunity for the sportsmen and women to take control of their future.
Yeah,
so, yeah, I'm very excited about what we're doing.
And $12 is nothing to $12 to shoot another deer is like it's nothing. You know what I mean? You can't barely get a cheeseburger now for that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anybody crabs about it, they ain't ought to have another deer. You know.
Can we buy multiple doe tags?
Yeah. If there's anything left over in the zone, you can just go online and get one.
Yeah, that's right. What I would tell people too is for your $12, you're going to get $36 of taxes paid by sportsmen back to the state of Maine to buy deer yards. You think about that. What we did was we just leveraged 3-1 federal match to invest in the things we care about.
Right. I think it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the fund. When I was a state senator, I created this deer management account. And what I did was I got $2 of your tagging fee put into that fund. That fund, the deer management account, has about between $400,000 and $500,000 in it now that have been accumulating to be used to purchase deer wintering areas and manage deer yards. That money, when you combine it with this new structure, in the first year we'll have over $1 million in it. That fund can be used for everything from predator control to habitat improvements to actual land purchases on those deer wintering areas. This is where we get even a multiplying factor beyond that. In May, I'm going up to Aroostook County to meet with the Aroostook County Conservation Association and interested parties to establish a consortium of groups that want to bring the deer back in Aroostook County. We're going to create a formal committee, do fundraising, to sign up volunteers to take ownership of those deer wintering areas locally. And when I say take ownership, I don't mean physically. What I'm talking about is boots on the ground, people to go in there, monitor for predation issues, to go in and do habitat improvements with the department, to be partners on the ground. And why that's also important financially is all of those volunteer hours sanctioned by the department are also eligible for federal match. So you've got an ongoing revenue source to do the habitat improvements on the ground. So we've got a multiplying factor across the board. If we implement this properly, we can be effective in being a partner on the ground. One last thing, we're also going to raise money. When I wrote the fund, the deer management account language, I put in a provision to allow a donation to the fund to be used to purchase deer wintering areas. If we can raise money, let's say we're looking at a property for $200,000. We could make a donation to that fund of $50,000, trigger the federal 3-1 match, and then purchase that deer wintering area to add to a wintering complex. That empowers the locals to not only improve the deer wintering area, but add to it. Talk with adjoining landowners, make improvements to it, buy corridors to bring the deer into the yard. So there's so many potential opportunities here. It's just so exciting. It gives me goosebumps to think about.
Dave, could you cover what the process is for identifying these yards?
Yep, sure. Inland Fisheries and Wildlife sent a notice out to all their biologists on the ground and said, we want you to identify your highest priority deer wintering areas across these regions. Their guys went into the field and did that. They then gave that information to the department and said, these are our priorities. They then went to those landowners and said, do you have an interest in selling? Some of those landowners said yes. That's how they initiated it. Then you have the Jerry McLaughlins of the world. He's from the ACCA in Aroostook County. Just a top-notch, straight-shooting, honest guy. And he said, look, I'm going into the field. I know where they are. He's been going out into the field, finding them. He already knows where most of them are. And he's talking to the landowners. Jerry McLaughlin is the reason we bought 1,000 acres in Woodland. He went to the landowner. He knew where it was. He convinced the landowner this was a good way to conserve his land for deer. And they went out and bought it. That, to me, is an example of the kind of passion that sportsmen have for conserving deer wintering areas. And we want to establish that model across northern, eastern, and western Maine.
Yeah, I've talked to the biologist in our area, I guess that's doing it. His name's Dan Hill, and he's coming up next week to Jackman, and I'm going to take him around. I've already kind of mapped out what I know is deer yard, was deer yard, and maybe can be deer yard. He's going to go around with me and look at that, and
exciting.
Hopefully we can get some of that land either bought or conserved or something. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's exciting because, Hal, that's how it's going to get done. The department doesn't have the kind of staff to be on the ground. Deer habitat is almost like a living organism. It's empty during the summer, and, later in the spring, the summer, and even early fall, and then it becomes a living organism in the wintertime. That organism can change, and you need people on the ground who know where the deer are wintering, knowing where their migration paths are. The department can never do that. What you're doing is the beginning of what the ACCA has been doing up in Aroostook County. And that's the way you're going to save your deer herd.
Yeah. The guy we was talking about on the other podcast, one of them we was talking about, is a guy in town that goes and cuts cedar. As soon as deer season's over, he's got a permit to cut the limbs off the cedar, and he feeds them all winter. And he had 58 one night, he told me, I don't know, a few weeks ago, but I saw him again at the grocery store a few days ago, and the fields in town in Jackman, Moose River, is starting to bear up the golf course and various fields around town. And he drove around the loop the other evening. He told me he counted 212.
Wow. Wow. That's exciting. It's funny that you talk about cutting the cedar. I was a self-employed logger for 35 years. I still do some cutting. I reserve most of my cutting of maple, hardwood. I live along the coast, and we don't necessarily need deer yards, but I used to have a lot that had cedar on it, and I used to do the exact same thing. I would cut my hardwood later in the wintertime, and then I would cut cedar with the landowner's permission, obviously, to feed the deer. And I got to be honest, it was like a magnet. It would pull those deer in from all around, and they were up in those tops. I got pictures now of last winter. I did that, and I got 4 and 5 deer laying in groups all around my tops. It's so rewarding to see and do that naturally. That's natural. You don't have to feed them. It doesn't cost anything other than your time. And so I definitely relate and connect with what that individual's doing.
Is there a line, Dave, of a north-south line, or that you consider areas to purchase deer yards? I mean, or do you pretty much just evaluate everything on their own?
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, you need a willing seller, so it's not like you're just going to go out and get them. So you have to depend on creating these deer wintering area complex. I call them complexes because the actual deer yard is an anchor. It's the land around it that is going to determine your success. So for me, it's where the line where the population of deer starts to decline. And the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife has that map, and I'll share it with you, of where the deer population starts to decline. It's basically all the districts where they limit permits for antlerless deer. I believe you need to transition from where that deer population is healthy, where it begins to decline. And almost like an army, the front lines of an army, you've got to move that line northward, eastward, and westward. And so what my plan is to, in that gray area where the population starts to decline, from that point north, south, and north, east, and west is where we need to buy deer yards. You can't just go out in the middle of a place where there's no deer, like in Aroostook County, buy a deer yard and say that the deer will come. What I believe you need to do is move that line through time so that you bring that deer population north, east, and west. So for me, it's that area, that gray area, that transitional area, that it's crucial. If you can manage and keep managing northward, you will get there. And if we can buy those deer yards and conserve them and maintain the population or grow it in Aroostook, in Washington County, up into parts of Maine where they're in serious decline, you actually have two policies you're implementing. You're implementing growing the population northward and also conserving those areas where you hope in the next 10 or 20 years you're going to grow the deer population.
Yeah, so a key to this is also going to be it won't work unless you have coyote control. So those people that you're talking about taking charge of their areas
that's right.
should be doing the coyote control. Because if you're just trying to get deer to stay there, the coyotes are going to find that out, and it'll never grow if you got the coyotes there.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more with that, Alan. This program depends on the state having a liberal hunting season for coyotes. You need to manage them year-round. There was an attempt recently to try to, by the anti-hunting groups, to try to, I guess, manage the coyote much like you do deer and bears. And they wanted to limit night hunting. They wanted to eliminate hunting during the pup rearing season. We challenged that aggressively and defeated it, but we must have our current system in place: hounding, night hunting, all of it. But bears as well. We're going to ask the department to put in place an aggressive plan to manage bear predation in the springtime. Now, you won't get a spring bear hunt, but I think you can aggressively manage bait sites and hounding in these areas we want to bring the deer back, because what's the sense of controlling coyotes and then allowing bears in the spring to, run rampant over the fawn population? You're just never going to get the deer back. So you need year-round predation control, and that includes bears.
Yeah.
Right.
The bear population is up too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very much
Couldn't
so.
we take two of them in the fall?
Yeah.
Get us a $12 ticket for them.
Well, no. Sam put in a bill, and it's passed, and it's in place now. We went to IF&W and said, we want to expand the bear kill to 2 bear, not just one by trapping and one by traditional means. So we submitted a bill. IF&W said yes, and then so they worked with us. They took more control over that policy, but it's already in place that this year, starting this year, coming up, you'll be able to take 2 bears. One. It used to be 1 by trapping and 1 by traditional means. Now it's going to be you can take 2 bears. You can still do 1 by trapping, but you can do both bears by traditional means.
Nice.
And that's for this fall?
Yes, that's coming
Awesome.
right up.
Oh, good.
Boy, that's going to be
Yep.
big for outfitters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is this...
Oh, yeah. Yes,
they're
I
going to
think
be
so.
hauling a lot of bears.
Oh, yeah.
Because those guys are going to be shooting the first thing that comes along now.
Yeah.
And is this new doe permit system, is that going to be in effect for this fall, too?
Yes, I was able to put an emergency provision on the legislation,
Yeah,
which
so I was
allowed
wondering.
it to take effect immediately. That was for the LMF money last time around, but we also got it so that we could get it effective this year. So it will take place this fall.
Well, that's a lot of opportunity now with 2
Oh,
deer, 2 bear, 2
Yeah.
turkeys.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
Awesome.
So I'm going to make my pitch because I was so successful and I don't want to run out of time. I got to be honest with you, all the time that I've been SAM director, it made my heart feel good when I woke up that next morning, came into the office and found out that Hal Blood's followers and your Big Woods Bucks followers had joined SAM. Those are the people we need involved in what we're doing. So I'm going to make a pitch. I hope your folks that are listening will consider joining, Sam. We're the folks that are going to get it done, and we need your people. So consider joining the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine. You can do that online, sportsmansallianceofmaine.org, and build our numbers up so we can get this done.
Hey, Dave. Before you go, if we could cover a little bit too, the Sunday hunting bill, just because I think it, everyone's got their opinion on it and strong opinions, and I know a lot of people are not happy with Sam because of Sam's position. So maybe if you explain it, they'll get your position a little better.
For those folks that are out telling people that we don't support Sunday hunting, you're lying to the people you're talking to. That is absolutely not true. We poll our members and we take positions on issues like Sunday hunting based on our membership. Our membership supports Sunday hunting, and we do as well. What we don't support, and this is where I think people are getting confused, we don't support reverse posting. Reverse posting is where all the land in Maine is assumed closed to hunting unless you have written permission. Currently in Maine, we have, the policy is if the land is not posted, it's assumed you can hunt and recreate on it. That's different than most other places in the country. In other parts of the country, you have to pay to use the land, and all the land is considered posted. When we testified on this bill that was in the legislature, and this is where it gets interesting, because Sunday hunting has been introduced over 30 times, people are trying to become more creative to allow some form of Sunday hunting, and they're getting desperate with the policies. Everything from, and I know I was one of the people that did it, I had proposed things like allowing waterfowl hunting as a limited hunt, trying just small game, just all kinds of creative ways to start Sunday hunting. This year, the proposal was to allow Sunday hunting, allow landowners to hunt on their own property, but also to have written permission. That's reverse posting. So when we testified, we said we support Sunday hunting, but we can't support the reverse posting component of this bill. We asked the committee to take that out and just move forward with a Sunday hunting bill, and we would support it. That is consistent with our policy on both reverse posting and Sunday hunting. We continue to support Sunday hunting, and we will in the future. But don't throw reverse posting in there, because when you do, some groups just can't support it. Now, this is another reason why we don't support reverse posting. Right now, landowners who we support, landowner rights, they have ownership of the land and all the rights that go along with that. But the landowners do not own the game that's on that land. That is in the public trust. All of us own it equally. If you pass a law that says all landowners can hunt the animals on this day, but nobody else can, that's returning to what's called the feudal system, where nobility or a special class of people are the only ones allowed to hunt the game. That, to me, is wrong. The game belongs to all of us equally. It doesn't belong to you just because you own land. And that's where I think people are getting upset and also confused. The people who are pushing that policy are telling people we don't support Sunday hunting. That's wrong, guys.
Yep. Good explanation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's always going to be one of those topics that people get fired up about, but that explanation, I think, lays it out pretty well. And the reverse posting thing would change everything in the state. That's what makes it so special here. Yeah. Is the way our laws are. You can drive down the road and jump off and go hunting anywhere. Yeah,
it would be devastating because it would also lead to pay to play. Weyerhaeuser, who's one of the largest landowners in Maine, they're leading the nation in pay to play. They charge people to birdwatch on their property in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
If you open this door that says all of the game belongs to the landowner, they then can turn around and say, you know what? If reverse posting is good on Sunday, it's good on every day. And that land, if you want to use it to hunt the game, you're going to have to pay us to do it.
I didn't know Weyerhaeuser had enough trees to have birds sit in them. Really, I don't know what you're paying for.
Sarcasm button on.
Yeah. Sorry, Weyerhaeuser, but
yeah. Well, we are blessed to have some land that's open. Can you imagine trying to get written permission on some of these landowners from other parts of the world?
Oh.
They own huge chunks of land here in Maine. How would you ever get written permission to hunt on their land?
Yeah.
You can't even get through the board of directors. You can't even find the board of directors members to get the permission.
Right.
It would change. It would change hunting in Maine forever. Now, one more thing for those guys that may be a little pissed off because they want to hunt on their land. We are your friends here. We're your partner on a future piece of legislation that may get you that Sunday hunting. Don't go slapping us because you didn't get your way on this one, because the bill, when it was submitted, was doomed to start. When we send out a questionnaire to our candidates running for office, we ask whether you support Sunday hunting, but one of our highest priorities is, do you support reverse posting? All of those candidates we endorsed said they did not support reverse posting. First of all, those candidates know how they answered those questions. They weren't going to support that bill if it ever made it to the floor because their credibility was on the line. They told our organization they wouldn't support reverse posting. And one more last thing, they should talk to us prior to submitting the bill, because we could have been a strong partner on supporting a Sunday hunting bill, but they thought they could muscle us into supporting something we couldn't. And that's just bad for the whole community.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've always said that I've seen these bills come and go over the years, and I always thought a logical solution, or not a solution, but a start to the Sunday hunting would be small game in unorganized territory. And then you're really not really dealing with small landowners then. And it would...
it's funny you say that, Hal, because I offered that. The NRA was the one who put this bill in, and I offered to the NRA to work with them on a limited northern Maine small game hunt, and they rejected that amendment.
Yeah,
so
because
I'm with you on this.
Yeah, because it's always comes up. I read the survey. The landowners are opposed to it, but it's the small woodlot owners, mainly in the southern Maine, central Maine landowners. But it would benefit like the North Maine Woods Organization, because it would bring revenue to them, because you got to pay by the day to be there, and camping fees there would be a lot more revenue there, and I'm sure they'd get right behind it,
Yeah. Well, I know that they're pretty upset over this last bill that was in there. They wanted nothing to do with it. What I hope might happen in the future is, in order to be effective in the legislature, you need 50% plus one. You can't achieve that when you're beating each other up. When the outdoor community is in conflict and beating each other up, you'll never have that kind of momentum to get something.
Right. Well, that's a good conversation, Dave. We're going to have to wrap it up. And
okay.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah.
It's appreciated.
Sure. Thank you. And
thank you, Dave.
All right. Thank you, guys. Yep.
Bye. Hey, Hal here. I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with OnX Hunt. I've been using it for a while now, and if anybody knows me, they know I'm not a very techie person, but the OnX app is it's a real time saver. I remember the days when we poured over topo maps everywhere we was going to go and stuff, and I don't do that quite as much anymore. Where it's really helped me is scouting, whether it's deer scouting, a moose, or even turkey hunting in the spring, which I do. It really helps out. I don't have to spend as much time running around the truck burning up the gas. I'm just basically using my OnX. Got it on my phone. Don't even carry a GPS anymore. So I just download the areas where I'm going to be hunting, whether it's up north moose hunting, and I use it mostly on the satellite imagery. I like to see the cuts and the clearings and the turkey hunting, the hidden fields and stuff. But everybody's using it now, from the game wardens to land surveyors, and just a great tool. And with our partnership with with Onyx. If you use a code BWB, you're going to receive 20% off on your first premium or elite memberships. And you just go to onxmaps.com/hunt. You'll be glad you did. Good luck on the trail. Well, everyone, that was a good conversation with Dave. And I think any of you that are deer hunters that hunt in Maine or anywhere in general, it'd be nice to support this cause, especially you ones that do hunt in Maine. Maybe you got a camp or maybe you just come here for a week. But anyways, I appreciate it. And so now we're still holding off on this 100th anniversary thing here. And we got new team member Glenn Bombardier on here.
Did I say it right? Did he say it right, Glenn?
He did say it right.
Awesome.
All right. Like a Frenchman.
Just as long as it's not Bombardier.
Bombardier.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
you ride them.
Yeah.
You can't ride Glenn.
Yeah. All right.
No.
Yeah. So, anyways, welcome to the team, Glenn. It's a pleasure having you with us. And so let's just talk a little bit about you and so people can get to know you.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the invite. Been looking forward to coming on this podcast. I listen to it all the time, so it's one of my most favorite downloads.
Oh, great.
I am a lifelong Vermonter, 47 years old, wife and 2 kids. Both kids are in college now, so we're empty nesters.
It's beautiful, isn't it, Glenn?
It is a different dynamic for sure.
You got a little more free time, huh?
Yeah, definitely. It's just different time. It's
yeah.
I'm still quite busy, but it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So I obviously enjoy hunting. I'm a huge fan of the tracking arts, and I'm a big steelhead fisherman. And I love the New York Yankees.
Oh, we had this conversation once.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, sorry. Like you were living the perfect life right up until then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but now you. I know it's you're with the Yankees and Timmy's with the Red Sox.
Cage match.
So now you realize you got to give up that hat and wear your Big Woods one, right, in the fall?
Yeah.
If I put a New York Yankees hat on, will you take me steelhead fishing?
I sure will.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you hunt. I know you hunt in Maine, Vermont, and I think the Adirondacks. You go over there now too, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I've hunted Maine for several years. Probably started in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then I hunted New Hampshire one year. I want to get back over there. And then obviously I hunt Vermont all the time. And then for the past, 5 or 6 years, I've been going over to the Adirondacks, been having some pretty good luck over there. But for the most part, it's Maine and the Adirondacks recently.
All right, so I got to ask you, what's your favorite state?
My favorite state, boy, I'd have to say right now it's New York. Really? I love hunting the Adirondacks because it's totally different batch of woods. There's a lot more freedom to roam because there's not as many folks riding the roads.
Right.
That Portage Brook Road problem that everyone has.
Yep. Keep beating her up. Yep.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love Maine. Absolutely love Maine. But I like having the total freedom to just stop on the side of the road where it's not posted and walk.
Right. The only problem with that is a little further to get them out, right?
Yeah, it tends to be. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or maybe not further, but harder to get them out because you do have hiking trails there, but you don't have the old winter logging roads and just different places where at least if you get one to there, you might get a snowmobile to it or
Right,
at least
exactly.
be a wheel cart or something easier,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I enjoy hiking. My wife and I hike a lot during the summer, so that's not an issue for me. So I tend to make some fairly large swings through the woods. And like Larry Benoit always said, the hard part is finding them. The easy part is getting them out. It's
right.
So how do they all compare to Vermont? You mentioned Maine and New York, but you live in Vermont, but don't hunt there as much.
correct. Yeah, no, I don't hunt here as much because the old growth trees, it's, you can go up on a ridge in the Green Mountain National Forest and have, like a 3-4 foot diameter tree. And, that's not allowing the sunlight to get to the ground. And there's just not a lot of feed for the deer. Couple that with very minimal wintering areas, and you just have these big empty hardwood ridges. Don't get me wrong, there's still some big bucks, and I've gotten a few pretty good sized deer, but they are few and far between when you compare walking through the snow 3-4 days old in Vermont to walking through the snow 3-4 days old in New York or in Maine. It's like, I would say, if I had to compare, I would say finding a good buck track in Vermont is like a 3 on a scale of 10, and Maine and New York is upwards of 8 or 9.
Yep. Good way to put it. But plus there's a lot more hunters in Vermont too, I think, compared to the size of the areas, right?
Oh yeah, definitely are. Well, and there's an increasing amount of posted land. So that the towns that I used to hunt, you can't get anywhere close to there unless you have some written permission. And then once you start tracking on that type of land, you're going to put shit on to some of the posted land. So It tends to be the state forests. People gravitate towards those state forests because it's not posted, but it's awfully crowded.
Yeah. I'd rather hunt where there was 1 buck and no people than 10 bucks and 20 people.
Exactly. And that's what I tend to do. I get up really high on the ridges, 3,000-4,000 footers, and just try and get away from the crowds as much as I can.
Yeah. That's good. You like to get back in, and I know you shot a few over in the Adirondacks now, pretty good ones, huh?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, like I said, I've had several years with pretty good luck, some good snow conditions, so that helps.
Yeah, what I found from hunting over there is you probably have too, that the tracking over there is different than it is in Maine a lot, because I don't find that they travel as far over there, and I don't know why that is. And
yeah, I definitely agree with that.
They don't go as far, and they also, they tend to. I think you can find them the same buck in a certain area more than you can over in Maine. I mean, they might come through a same area once a week or something, if that during the rut,
We may have to go down there and check it out, Lee.
We're going.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we finally got invited.
Lee and I got a nice invite. Yep. Hal was not included on that.
No.
He's snotty and goes without us all the time. So
no, I haven't been over there in I think 3 years now.
Has it been that long? Oh, you've been in Massachusetts quite a bit.
Well, yeah, since we started there at the lodge, I haven't really had time to, and so I haven't been. But I still want to get over. I like it. The problem over there is on average, your deer are smaller. So, in the tracks, you probably realize that too, Glenn. The track size itself, you can have a, one size track fits many sized deer, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not like over here in Maine where you pretty much know what you're up against when you see the track,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna to give Lee and Cruzy the heads up, watch out for, you're not going to find any, massive main size tracks over there. They are very, very few and far between. And it takes a bit to get used to that. It took me a bit to get used to that, expecting a big old track. And it's just not there. So you tend to sort out tracks with does quite a bit more than you do in Maine. But the stagger is definitely there, and the length of the stride is there. It's just that width is missing sometimes.
Yeah, and then, you'll get them old ones that'll drag their feet. But I noticed over there, too, you don't get as many of those, I call them cross-country skiers, as over this way,
Yeah. Yeah, if you find one of those, you should have a good day, because, I like the ones that just walk a little differently than everyone else.
Right.
Whether it's a dragging or I had one a couple years ago where he kept flicking his toes out. So there was like a spray on each side of the track.
Yep.
That was really good to differentiate between a couple different deer. Even though it wasn't a huge wide track, I could keep it separated pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen that several times. They it's almost like their foot goes off to the side and it makes like a little hook there to the drag.
Yep.
Yeah, you can imagine them walking when they're like that. They look like they're flicking their legs out every step.
It usually ain't a small one doing that.
No, it usually isn't.
So what kind of sizes have you killed down there in New York, Glenn, weight-wise?
Weight-wise, the biggest one was 207.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's big for over there, though. That's like shooting a 250-pounder over here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was the biggest track that I had seen in the Adirondacks since I had been hunting up there. But, high 140s up to 170s.
Oh, wow.
The one I got this year was 174.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just different deer. So, Glenn, I wanted you to tell the story about the day we spent together a few years back. You won the photo contest we had, and with the clothing, I think it was, and we couldn't get together on a scouting trip. The prize was a weekend of scouting, and we just couldn't make that work. So I had already shot my buck that year, and you were up, and I think you called to ask me place to try or something like that, but I'll let you fill everybody in on that story.
Yeah, no, like you said, we couldn't get together for the scouting trip, so told you I was going to be up there. You told me to stop by with my gazetteer and point out a couple spots to me, and so I got to your house with my father, and you said, "Why don't I just take you tomorrow morning?" I'm like, well, all right, that's fine with me. So we got to the spot where there was a bit of snow. We got one other Vermonter that was parked there, and they were walking down the road, and we decided to cut up through on the other side and go through the road, go through the trees instead of going up the road. We got up there maybe a quarter of a mile, and there was a nice buck track, and we followed it for a bit, and maybe 100 yards literally, and all of a sudden we found where there was a fight. It was obviously overnight, but we decided to take it. Something that I wouldn't have done previous to that, because I thought it was too old. But you said, nope, we're going to take this, and we'll probably catch up to them around 1:30, 2 o'clock. So, okay, I'm at your mercy. I'm going here. I want to learn as much as I possibly can. So we followed it, started heading up behind some cuts up this steep ridge, and getting closer. He was feeding and a couple beds, and then tipped over the top of the mountain. He didn't have that really big, huge, wide track that you see in Maine, but it was long and a very, very tall deer based on the couple rubs he made. So we tipped over the backside of the mountain, went down there for a bit and paralleled the mountain. And then all of a sudden he bedded and headed back up over the top of the mountain. And we got to just about the very crest of the mountain, and we found the running tracks, but we were pretty darn close.
He
either smelled us or saw us, but we were close.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he saw us because he had just got up and he was walking. It was just, I always tell people timing's everything, and our timing was off because he had just got up and gone up on that little there was a little shelf, and we tried to sneak up over it, and he just happened to be standing. He wasn't looking for anything behind him, but just the way he was standing there. I mean, he was just meandering. Remember, he just zigzagging up through there, and he just happened to be in a spot, standing there looking around, and he see us come up over that. But we caught up to him anyway, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. And geez, we chased him till probably, I don't know, 3:30, and we were still quite a ways from the truck. And I remember you looked at me and you're like, well, when we finally decided to leave the track, he's like, well, did you learn anything? I'm like, yeah, take an overnight track. And you said, what do you mean? I'm like, I would have walked right by that track. And the look you gave me was like, what are you, an idiot? and I'm thinking how many times I had been on tracks and walked over the top of them just because I didn't think they were fresh enough. And ever since that, if I find a track that's overnight, I'm taking it. And usually, by the end of the day, I'm pretty darn close to it. So that was the number one biggest lesson that I learned from that, for sure.
Yeah, I did. I've always done it because I don't have no patience. So I figure I know there's a buck at the end of that track somewhere. I just got to get there.
Yeah, I guess I was being too choosy, or thinking that I don't know. It never got into my pea brain enough to make an impact until that day, and ever since then, it's been I've had a lot more success on the track.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people, you weren't the only one, because I think that's the way most people are. I think most people are waiting to see steam coming out of the track before they want to take it. But
yeah.
I've taken tracks that I can barely see, that it is a track. And if it's snowing, it's made in the snow. You might as well go because it can't be that far,
Right. Yep. And I've taken some of those steaming hot tracks, and at the end of the day, they're further away than they were when I started. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
cool.
That's good.
Well, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's very humbling.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have a lot to share with people, and I'm sure you got stuff they can learn from you. That's a great thing about our team is there's always, we're not all clones. I said that from the beginning. I don't want a bunch of Hal Blood clones because that's painful.
No. The world doesn't want a bunch of Hal Blood clones.
That's right. Yeah. You guys.
Yeah, my proportions are a little different than yours. I'm not 6'3" or however tall you are. Yeah.
I just went to the doctors yesterday, and they weigh me all the time. The gal goes, I got to weigh you, and I go, with my shoes on? And she goes, yeah. And I go, with my shoes and my clothes, I'm going to be right about 200. So she kind of chuckled, and we get down to the scale, and I get on there, and I was 200.9. And then they had the height measure, and Chris was telling me the other day he went to the doctor and for his checkup, and he was 6 foot half inch.
He couldn't have lost as much as he said he did.
Yeah, he did.
That's a lot.
I noticed at the show he seems a lot shorter than he used to, but he's lost 3 inches, and he's only he's 9 years. He'd be 56, right?
Yeah, he's shrinking fast.
Yeah, 3 inches. So I looked at that scale thing, the height, and I go, I better measure myself. Well, I know I don't feel like I've got any shorter, so I pulled that up on my head, and the gal didn't know how to run it. She goes, I never used that before, so evidently they don't care how tall you are. But so I pulled it up on my head the best I could, and one of the other nurses coming by, she looks at it and she goes, 74. And I go, well, that's 6'2", so I've lost an inch.
Well, you had your shoes on too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you lost more than that.
But the thing was pushing down on my head quite a bit. All I had
there wasn't any hair getting in the way. We
No.
knew that.
Well, all I had on was my elf shoes. They don't have no heels on them, so that ain't counting for very much.
They curl up in the front.
Yeah.
With tassels.
All right, you going to make it over next weekend, Glenn?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the logistics all set up. But
Bring your fish
looking
bowl.
forward to it.
Bring your fish
All
bowl.
right.
I'm gonna
I'll
be
make sure I bring my Yankees hat too.
Yeah, that's good.
For sure.
God, you might get beat up.
No, I'm gonna send out me and Joe were talking because we got some lodging for the team members, so I'm gonna send an email to get a confirmation of who's coming and who needs lodging and all that. So I'll probably send that out today.
Excellent.
Or tonight or something, and then everybody can respond to it, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, a lot going on. Yeah,
Yeah, this past weekend was good. We had the Maine Sportsman Show and
yeah,
busy weekend.
yeah, real good. We put those. You probably knew, but we were doing that gun raffle for Travis Mills Foundation. That Andy Larson from Skinner Sights, he did the specialty work on it, cutting the barrel and everything. It's a Browning BLR lever, and Andy cut it down and engraved it, and he put a Skinner sight on it, Peep and everything. But so that was and he put 1 of 1 on it. We started that raffle at the Sportsman Show over the weekend, and Chris put it on the website too, so people could just buy the ticket online. And we had 500 tickets, and we sold them in 24 hours.
Wow.
So we're going to be.
Yeah, I saw that they went pretty fast.
Yeah. So we raised about $11,000 for the Travis Mills Foundation. So that's going to be good, and we're going to be drawing that gun on spring thaw day, and somebody will be getting that gun.
Nice.
Yep.
As well as the muzzleloader too, right?
Yep,
That
that's
day,
right.
So we'll be giving away 2 guns that day.
Yeah, that's like a door prize is our. We got a Woodman Arms muzzleloader, Big Woods Bucks model muzzleloader, and
Are team members eligible?
nope. Nope.
That's not fair.
There's only
No, I've got my own, but you can always have another one.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, there's benefits of being on the team, and then there's some dis benefits.
I wanted to buy a ticket for that one last weekend, and
Yeah,
wasn't allowed.
wouldn't look good if a team member won the
Right.
Big Woods Bucks limited edition. It wouldn't look too good. They'd think there'd be some hanky panky going on. So,
Right.
well, all right, Glenn. It's good having you on the team again, and
Yeah.
Look forward to meeting you next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Likewise.
All
Should
right.
be fun.
All right. Well, you have a good day, and we'll see you in a week.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thanks, Glenn.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Now, we got to be doing a little housekeeping here. We still ain't talked about this 100th anniversary yet.
All right.
Let me get in my notes here, though. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got to do our wool update. Everybody's been asking about that. So we've got the wool. We've got some checkered wool. We got wool ordered. We're going to be in production here pretty quick on packs, coats, pants, everything going. The pants will be we're gonna do. We had a request. We're trying to do a lot of the stuff that you requested. Couldn't do everything, obviously, but the things that kind of were the most requested is what we're gonna be focused on, because we got a good chance here to we're starting up again, so we're gonna change some things around with the patterns and stuff like that. So the pants will be the same style. They're gonna have it's gonna be a lighter weight wool. There was a request for a lighter pair of pants, so we're gonna go with an 18-ounce wool. And I think we're going to take the zippered legs off of those because I don't think people care that much, especially on a lighter weight one. The coats are going to be, a lot of people requested a pouch in the back, call it a game pouch, whatever. It's probably going to be a lunch pouch for most people.
We covered this on the last podcast, Al.
We did?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be 65 pretty quick, so that Alzheimer's is kicking in.
I know it's so I know why, because you thought we did it with Glenn, which we did originally.
Yeah, okay. So my notes are from the last one, but I wrote that down because we hadn't had the packs when we went to the show last weekend. All right, I won't talk about that anymore. I'll talk about the packs. We got the prototypes done.
They look good.
We had them at the Sportsman Show, and we were showing them to everybody, and we had a really good response on the 2 different size packs.
The small one is nice.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a nice addition. I think a lot of people are going to like those.
Yeah. Well, Rick Labby said the one with the shoulder straps is for his 6 o'clock in the morning track, and then the small one was for his noontime track.
Yeah.
So, and then I think, didn't you say that was a good idea, Lee? Getting 2 packs so you can have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think everybody should buy 3 of everything we have. No. That new pack, the small one, is.
Yeah, it's nice.
I've been begging for that for, it will be 10, 16 years. Yep.
Oh, you have not.
From day one, I'm like, this thing is a suitcase.
Well, that first one was
the first one. We have cut it down once, and then you bitched about it, so we had to cut it again.
Right, and now it's the right size. 'Cause
yeah.
Woody called me and said, how big do you want this thing? And I told him, and it's perfect.
All right.
I think. But I don't carry anything. I got a sandwich or 2.
Yeah, it's still big enough that we cut it back that couple inches. It makes it fit. A lot of people said it was like hanging down a little bit behind them, so it won't do that now. But it'll still fit your lunch. It'll fit anything you need in it for the day. I mean, I can see too. I'm going to use it because it'll fit what I normally take.
What? Wait, you're gonna use it?
Yeah, the smaller one. I'll use one.
Really?
And then but it won't fit like you can't roll up your shirt. My other one, I can roll my shirt up and put it in it if I need to, or I can throw a couple of trail cameras in it if I want to do that. But yeah, I'm going to get one. Save my pennies up a little bit. All right, well, so let's talk a little bit for a few minutes about our 100th anniversary, and quite frankly, it wouldn't happen without you listeners, right?
Right.
That's what makes it possible.
Thanks for listening, and you made it happen, because like I said, if we would have never got to 100 without all your support and support from the sponsors, and we enjoyed doing them, and so we'll keep at it. But I think this number 100 seems like the first milestone we come to, So me and Lee and Joe was kind of talking. I've been thinking it over if we could do some kind of a contest or do something special for the 100th. So we talked a little bit about it this morning, and the hard part is trying to figure out how we can have a contest when we got thousands of listeners and not have to go through thousands of things to get to that point. So what we came up with, if we did, it'll be like the day this podcast comes out. As soon as you hear it, the 100th person to send me an email will be the winner. So that'll start at midnight +1. The first minute of the 12th of April here. It might get posted on. You might get a head start on it because Chris usually posts them in the evening of Monday evening. So by the next morning at 1 minute of 1, 1 minute before 1 is when it'll start. And on the 100th email, that's going to be the winner. So you're going to send me an email at hal@bigwoodsbucks.com. And in the subject, you're going to put
100th podcast.
100th podcast. And then if you want to, whatever you want to put in the subject line, don't make it a story, but if you want to write a little something. And then number 100 will get the prize, which is get to hunt with either me, Lee, or Joe for a day this fall. So I know there's a lot of people listening. You might be from out west somewhere or around the world. It's probably not going to interest you, but so other people might be willing to travel. But anyways, that's what we'd figure you'd do, is a day of tracking with one of us this fall. So
Got to be weather dependent, right?
it'll be
Only when
weather
the snow
dependent.
goes.
It's not going to be a specific day. We'll pick a specific day. We'll have to, if you're flexible, or maybe you'll decide to come for a week and, I don't know, maybe stay at the lodge. Actually, it could tie in because I've got some lodging left for Thanksgiving week, and that's generally pretty much assured for some snow. So,
But you're only going to do it one day, right? The 100th?
unless you want to take somebody for a week.
No. I'm saying emails.
Oh, the emails. Yeah, cut it off. Yeah, don't email me for the next 2 months afterwards. It's going to have to say, don't punch it out till 1 minute after midnight, because it's going to have to be on the April 12th only. That's the only, in the 100th one on April 12th is the winner.
I'm glad I'm not dealing with your email that day.
Yeah, I'll probably wear the delete button off. Not that I won't read them, but I'll just punch them out until I get to number 100, and it'll be the order they come in. So it's all on a time and everything. So the winner, I'll read the time off and all of that, and the winner, and we'll on the podcast after that probably will be talking about the winner.
Cool.
All right. Well, you two birds got anything else to say for yourself?
No, you talked enough. Wrap it up.
Yeah, Sarge's is closed today, so we got to go somewhere else. But
Yeah, don't cry. It's okay.
Lee wants to wrap it up. He probably didn't eat no breakfast or nothing.
No,
He's hungry.
I forgot.
Yeah. Okay, then. Until, don't forget our sponsors and all that. And ring the bell for YouTube and Facebook and all of that. Instagram.
Anyone that listens on like the iTunes store, you can leave a review there if you like what you're hearing. If you don't like it,
Good reviews.
don't say anything.
Yeah, if you don't like it, tough shit.
Yeah.
We don't
5
care.
stars are good.
What?
What do you really think, Lee?
He's going to start talking now.
Yeah.
No, I'm ready.
Yeah, we're all done, and he starts talking.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
All right. Till next time, good luck on the trail.
Hi everyone, Big Woods team member Mark Sheeran here. Many of you know that I have a passion for helping people solve their addictions permanently. As a matter of fact, me and my team have spent the last 31 years helping more than 20,000 people move on from their addictions. So know this, if you or someone you love want to move on from an addiction for good, and you don't want to be stuck in a rehab or 12-step meetings or endless therapies, then you might want to learn about the Freedom Model and the St. Jude Retreat. To learn more, give us a call at 888-424-2626. All calls are confidential. Here's that number again, 888-424-2626, or go to soberforever.net for more information. I really look forward to helping you end your addictions for good. Here's that number one last time, 888-424-2626. Take care.
Hey guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Parlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open obviously through the summer, right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.